Hello there again, YouTube paintball enthusiasts. We're gonna do a bit of fixing today. So, anal beads for Helix mags. I've already repaired this one, and you can probably see it. Focus. I've used it's picture hanging wire, but it's a bit brittle, and I did a quite good job of it. I put a blob of solder in there, and then I also I soldered on the other end, so it works. But I've already broken one, so this is my second one. So obviously, I know yeah. So I decided I'd upgrade. So what I did was I went out and got some cycle cable. It comes as a 1.8 meter long cable because it's designed for using for gear cables or brake cables. So it's a bit of a universal cable. So one end has like a ringy thing on it, which that end isn't ideal. This end though is a much better idea because it's got a little blob thing on it. So what we need to do, because this cable's slightly thicker than the diameter of the plastic like fishing line that the beads have on, we need to drill out the holes a little bit because the hole's too small. So I've already done this one. I'm using a 2mm drill bit to drill out the hole, but because of the stud on the end of here, that obviously ideally you want it to be flush. You don't want it to be poking out, because if I didn't drill the hole out, so what I've done is I've drilled it out with I think it's a 4mm, yeah, 4mm bit, and then that now actually fits in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to thread. Done a doggy job of doing that. Thread that one onto there and then pull it right through, and then yeah, so that's now beautifully flush, perfect. So now I just have to drill the rest of the balls. Only takes a second. I'll have to put that, actually we'll do it the other way around. Take those ones out, put the drilled ones in, otherwise we won't know where we are. And because they're meandering their way across the worktop. Always helps if you've got fingers like a gorilla. So hopefully this will be a permanent fix. You know, I'd like to think that gear cable will be a lot stronger. I know you're going to be saying, well, it'd only cost you £4 to buy another set of banal beads. It would, but I'm from Yorkshire and I like to reuse things. So that's all 12 of the balls drilled, so we can lose the drill. And now we just need to thread these. Make sure you do them all the same way, because I think the idea with these is that this one hole is bigger than the other. I think the idea is that the larger hole allows it to flex a little bit, so always make sure when you're threading them on, you thread them all on the same way. So go from big hole to small hole. And then ideally, we'll be in a position to sort this out. So keep going with these, all 12 of them. And then I thought, well, how am I gonna? Originally I thought maybe I could get some form of crimp, and I'm sure the stuff exists, but I don't have. I live in York, and we're not a very industrial place. So I've got Barnett's in the middle of town, and I went there, and then I thought, I wonder if one of these would work, you know, because I can screw them down, and they'll act like a clamp. So obviously the balls are all now. Everything's going everywhere. The balls are all out on the cable. So then we thread on our plastic tube, and then that now, and then unscrew all the screws, and then we should be able to pass this through. We're finding out as we go. Oh look, that works quite well. And then I wouldn't suppose it needs to be super tight, but you'll want a bit of tension on it, I suppose. A bit like that, and then just tighten that up a little bit, because it needs to be able to bend around the mag, so you can't have it. If you have it super tight, all you're going to do is strain things. So it needs to have a little bit of ability to bend. So that seems about right there. So I just need a little bit of looseness, and then tighten up the first screw. And then what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to basically loop that over, and then I'm going to trim it off with my Dremel to get a nice clean edge on it, and then I'm going to loop that back into the second screw. So at the moment I've only tightened up the first screw, and then I'll loop that back over. I might even get technical and put a little bit of solder on the end just to clean it up, and then loop that back into there, and then that gives you something to put your thumb through, so pull the beads back out again when you've charged the magazine. So we'll see how these ones last. This should be good. I don't see why it wouldn't. You know, it's going to be strong cable, and I'll see it. And also the other thing, because this cable is a bit thicker and it's a bit more, it don't want to bend as easily. I think they'll be easier to actually stuff the beads in, because this one's really supple and it's too supple, and you're always fighting to get the beads in the magazine. They don't want to go in. They'd rather go everywhere other than in the magazine. So I'm thinking when I've done this one, and I'll test that one out, I can use the other length of the cable that's fucked right off onto the floor. I can use, but then I'll have to obviously drill the hole out a little bit bigger to get that stud into the ball. Or I mean, I don't suppose it'll really matter if it's a little bit proud, but I suppose it's it'll want to always cockle the follower over if it's not round thing to round thing. But we'll see how we go. Okay, thanks very much. Take it steady. Ta-ra.